Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Ashley Nathan. I'm the Marketing Director at Tangentia. I hope everyone is at home and safe with their families. Today, we're going to be discussing business continuity and how digital process automation can support you. And with that, I will hand it over to Vijay. And just to mention as well, sorry, that we will be recording the webinar. And if there's any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we will do our best to answer them at the end of the webinar. Okay? Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ashley, and good morning, everybody. It is a nice day out here in Toronto, and we hope those of you who are joining in from other parts of the world or other parts of Canada, you have a good day there as well. So today is Catherine Calarco. Catherine is Senior Director, Global Industry Strategy, Life Sciences at Automation Anywhere, and it is an immense pleasure to have Catherine with us. Catherine is joining us all the way from San Jose. It's quite early in the day in San Jose, but thank you very much, Catherine, for making the time. And before
thank you.
Before we join, there's a few takeaways that we want to give you guys on what is happening in the RPA world, who is using RPA, key business drivers for business continuity, Automation Anywhere success stories, Tangentia success stories, and how to get started. So before we get to the meat of this, some of you might not know of Tangentia. Who is Tangentia and our impact? So we like to say that, and we believe that we've been able to make an impact on our customers and on the world in general. One of the biggest impacts that we have made is at in Toronto, in Ontario. If you live in Ontario, a couple of years back in 2015, Kathleen Wynne, the premier, announced that we're here in grocery stores for Christmas, and she made that announcement in November. So there were only 6 weeks left for Christmas. Now, for them to do, and this is a historic project because until then, beer and wine, some of you that live in parts of the world where you can go to a grocery store and buy beer and wine, take this for granted. We couldn't do that. You could only buy it from a government liquor store. So for them to do this, they had to put in place a whole supply chain, they had to put in place a whole ordering system, all of that in place. And they went to all the large companies that said it's not done. Only one company stood up and said, yes, we can do this. And that company was Tangentia. So Tangentia, even today, runs the whole beer and wine distribution system in the province of Ontario. So this is also the world's largest beverage alcohol distributor, Liquor Control Board of Ontario.
Vijay, you're cutting in and out, so just make sure you're close to the mic, okay?
Okay. So in the Middle East, we've started a RPA project, one of the largest RPA projects in the Middle East. So we have an impact on the largest bank in the Middle East and one of the largest mutual funds enterprise RPA in the world. So we have made an impact in different parts of the world in different industries, and that is what we want to make sure that we wanted to put across. So who is Tangentia? Very quickly, we've been in business for 16 years, more than 1,000 customers, more than 12 Fortune 500 customers, and more than $10 billion US in SaaS transactions. And we have partners, best of breed partners like Automation Anywhere. Our practices, automation, B2B, and digital. We're going to specifically talk about our automation practice, which is, and specifically RPA, which is robotic process automation. We have a 4P delivery model, which is people, projects, platforms, and partners. People is if you need people on your projects to start and do something, we provide you the people. Projects, we take on projects on an end-to-end basis. We call ourselves the Red Adair of this business. Red Adair was a California firefighter that whenever you had a big fire that your local fire departments couldn't put off, you called out Red Adair, which is exactly what we say. If you need people to come and do your projects on time, on budget, and actually delivered to your satisfaction and your stakeholder satisfaction, call Tangentia. We will come in and do it for you. platforms. We have our own platforms. We have also a bot as a service platform, which we'll talk about a little later. But we also have, EDI, e-commerce platforms, and our partners model is where we are partners with companies like Automation Anywhere. Who does business with us? Here are some of the people that do business with us. You have some big names that you might recognize if you're in Canada. RBC, LCBO, global names like Whirlpool, Valeo, Reliance Retail, India's largest retailer. We have some really big names out there that do business with us. So without further ado, I will now pass it on to Catherine. Catherine will talk to us about how, in the present situation, there was a joke that we talked about, who has made the most impact on digital transformation? Is it the CEO, the CFO, the CIO, or COVID-19? And what we're seeing more so in today's world, probably COVID-19 has had the most impact on digital transformation. And this is probably as good a time, or probably the best time for companies to look at digital transformation and the digital workforce closely. And Catherine is going to give us some examples. And Catherine, over to you.
Thank you very much, Vijay. It's a great honor to be part of this webinar today, as there's so much that we can talk about with regard to how that digital transformation is really manifesting during these times. And we all know that you're looking at COVID-19 through different phases, and in many different countries, you're at different parts of where we are. Many have peaked already through the crisis. Many are trying to manage that mitigation, and also trying to, at the same time, ensure their population is recovered and figure out the economic impact. And what we're talking about today is primarily about business continuity planning, or the ability to actually manage the business and assure its continued success during the global pandemic. Now, there's a lot of advice out there, which is from excellent sources like American Enterprise Institute has done a 4-page analysis. There's been work from the state and local governments within the United States and in Europe. You also see analyst firms like Everest Group, McKinsey, and others providing guidance. And so I encourage you to stay aware. One of the things that we actually understand right now is that we've never been here before, so we are having to create a path forward and using our collective intelligence to actually make that happen. And part of that is to stay agile. And one of the key ways to stay agile is to incorporate a digital worker. This is what we're seeing, and Vijay really articulated it well. This is the time where digital transformation is becoming a fundamental need for organizations. It's no longer nice to have with one area. We do have to have it across the whole company. And we are seeing organizations like government, healthcare, and life sciences that are rapidly responding to global challenge. And these industries are working at an unprecedented pace to find solutions. And really, intelligent automation and digital workers really empowers this active collaboration. We have to be more open. We have to be more AI decision-driven making. We need to have more ability to gather information and be able to share that information. We need to do real-time and smart supply chains to be able to meet the current crisis. And we also have to both respond rapidly as well as understand how the future is going to unfold for us. So business automation brings the ability for the organization to build in capacity. So when you're dealing with these major shocks to the system, you have to have enough capacity within your organization to move people into a problem-solving mode, or to be able to implement rapid changes within the organization. So I'm going to stay on this slide a little while because there's quite a lot of information on this, and I think it's an important area. So looking at business continuity, the real new normal is digital transformation. And in order to make an agile, capability-driven organization, you need to have intelligent automation, digital workers deployed, and digital transformation. So really use technology to help your people move to higher work and also be actively solving these problems. So talking about the workforce, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to be able to go back to work. Does this mean we stay virtual longer? How does that happen? How do you deal with social distancing in essential operations like manufacturing or labs. And how do you use elevators if you have to stay 6 feet apart? So these things are, you have to think about things you weren't usually aware of. So also you want to make sure that you can track employee safety, and you also want to ensure that the data, that the access they're having within and the way they're working is very secure. So we want to increase digital engagement. So we're doing things like Zoom and Teams, but we're also having to do virtual sales. You know, we used to be able to meet with one another, and now we're having to figure out how do we actually move our the salespeople into more of a virtual sales team and enable those people connections and use more of market education and digital marketing to help keep the business going forward. So obviously the new normal is remote workforce. We have to accelerate digital events and meetings and create more connections through that. We need to ensure that we are converging both human and digital, because what people do best is connect with one another, solve problems, be creative, and have conversations that are necessary in order to take us forward. So another pillar is business insights. So this is prompted by, we are suddenly realize how little visibility we have in certain areas when we need to make rapid decisions. So we need to be able to analyze, we have, you know, there's a lot of data silos in AI. There's a lot of data silos in understanding exactly what's going on, or being able to provide tests to certain areas, or being able to operate your supply chain due to borders being closed. So how do you actually get that information, and how do you connect them together without having to implement an entire new system? You have to do that through incorporating RPA and intelligent automation to actually integrate those data silos. So we want to have the ability to quickly access it, you know, and also be able to have real-time dashboards to have visibility on system performance. And all of this is enabled by a new normal, which is to automate access to real-time data, to digitize that data access, especially around business reporting and dashboards, and understanding what's actually happening within the industry itself. So we also obviously need to correlate higher quality data. So not only is it just data, but you have to be able to ensure that it's in the same standards, or it's the quality of the information you're getting is helpful in being able to make business decisions. We're seeing a lot of companies that are using, trying to do AI-driven decision-making, and they're using automation and intelligent RPA to pull information from multiple sources and multiple systems. It's phenomenal to see the impact that has. And Vijay was talking earlier that he has a client that was doing, I'm not through, to go back to that, thanks. And so I had a client that was able to save over, I don't know, 7 hours a day by being able to automate some of their finance area. I mean, it's just amazing how many things we're tolerating because it was business normal, and now business is not normal, so we need to be able to be agile and scale. So what we want to do is automate as much as possible. We need to reserve humans for high value work. It's fundamental during these times is to not have, you know, your executives and your lab researchers and people who are working on vaccines. You don't want them to sit there and copy and paste from spreadsheets to ERP systems. You want them to help solve the problem and fast track finding vaccines, therapeutics, and being able to respond quickly to ensure people's health worldwide. So really being able to keep that agility within the business itself. And the only way to do that is enabling RPA, because you can deploy automation much faster than implementing an ERP or doing API integration. And so because of that, you can actually deploy a bot to solve a problem today. And then once that problem moves to something else, you can redeploy that bot. You can reconfigure it and use it for something else. So it allows you to be agile. It also requires, obviously, some investment in time to set it up. But we have ways of making it very quick for you, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, with regards to building that capacity, we want to be able to assure we've got supplier performance management. We want to enhance supply chain planning and enable proactive inventory management. Supply chain has been identified by both the government, life sciences, healthcare, and many businesses as one of the top issues they have to address. They are looking to create agile supply chains to de-risk the future, as well as enable them to have continuity of supply of key drugs and products during this time. Okay, next slide. So obviously we talked a little bit about this, so we want to maintain business continuity. This is what automation enables you to do. You can work 24/7. We have one lab that has, because of they don't want to keep the health of their lab researchers, they want to minimize the number of people that are in the lab, and the only way they can do that is to run the tests 24/7 with bots. And that allows them to reduce the risk of individuals being in those areas, as also being able to assure that the science is done the same way every time. Next slide. Now, what is a digital workforce? And I'm not going to do a lot of coverage of this because I think this is a great follow-up for Vijay and his team to kind of walk through exactly how this works and to show you some of the demonstrations that we have in these particular areas. And it's phenomenal, jaw-dropping reactions when people go, oh my God, I can automate all that. So we have our enterprise solution, which is attended automation and unattended. So basically the ability to provide a digital assistant with somebody to curate information. We also have IQBot, which is our intelligent automation, which is uses unstructured data. It also can help to predict process outcomes. And also we have Bot Insights, which provides a smart analytics to operate over the bots and also to serve up information the bots are managing. And all of that together is bundled into a digital worker. And we have several of these pre-built for you. So we have digital workers for Workday. We also have bots for things like Salesforce, for many of the ERP systems, including SAP. So there's a lot that we've already created, and you can leverage the information and that development already in order for you to get going quickly. Okay, next slide. And this is some of the ROI out of this. Now, people are like, oh, how is this going to truly help my business? Well, across all sectors, automation is helping to reduce costs. They have cost savings of more than 30%. And the biggest value is really the ability to get faster time to value and improve accuracy and cycle times. And you really want to see improvements in productivity right now. Number one thing that CEOs tell us is that moving people to higher value work and enabling the accuracy and cycle time to help grow their business as well as reduce the time to market. Okay, next slide? All right, I'm going to go to the next slide for time, but the main thing about life sciences is that's the area I focus on, is that they really have to remove barriers. And one of the ways to remove barriers is to create more agile supply chain, but also scale manufacturing and other items that RPA can help with. And also being able to automate critical processes across discovery, clinical operations, and also dealing with patients and health professionals. So we've automated processes across the entire value chain, and I'm just going to touch on a few today. Not only that, but one of the key areas that we're seeing people focus on is their HR, IT, finance, and accounting areas. And this helps them to enable a virtual workforce by being able to put security policy updates for all users, or enable a remote workforce to securely access to their work and be able to work at home. And as what we're seeing a significant amount of is that tech support calls have increased. And so how can they manage tickets more in an automated way? So there's lots of areas within the back office that we can help with. And also we're going to talk a little bit about front office. So first of all, the supply chain. We've seen some amazing impact on the supply chain. I'm only going to touch on a couple of them, but one is a medical device, and we know how important it is to get supplies to hospitals and to individuals during this time. So we want to have that assurance. And what's phenomenal is one of our medical device companies had already installed automation within their order processing. And what they saw almost overnight was a 5-time increase in orders just from one country. And they were able to process that with no interruption to their business. And so therefore they were able to work on scaling manufacturing and being able to assure supply across more vendors. So the automation takes the information from fax. Yes, people still send orders via fax, and also Excel spreadsheets from sales reps, and they scan that information in and parse it into SAP and process that order. We also saw some real-time monitoring of supply chain and to integrate information of different inventory sources around the world or be able to source raw materials. So lots of work in this area. Also, we're seeing, and you may be seeing this as well, call centers have exponentially grown both in terms of number of volume, but also number of people working in call centers. And I think this is an important area because everything from the government to hospitals to the pharmaceutical companies, telecom. I mean, everyone is seeing an increase in their use of call centers, and also how can bots help to manage and curate the information to enable people to provide more resolution to those individuals, to handle the call quickly, and also be able to end up with a higher satisfaction with the individual that they're talking with. So basically, intelligent automation can help with enabling chatbot. So you can actually provide more and curate better answers. You can also triage the call, so you actually assure that it gets to the right person, and the agent who answers that call has more data available to them, and that they are able to access all other external databases or scan documents or information to help provide the right sort of curate the answers so they have more information at their fingertips in a faster way. So some of this is, the outcomes we're seeing is accurate and updated recommendations to the caller. The agent spends less time typing and more time resolving the issue with the actual caller. And we really want to assure that that individual has higher satisfaction and has their problem resolved and is really left being satisfied. So we want to have rule-based systems for better service throughput and patient satisfaction. So that's super important during these times, is to take care of people. Now, how do we do this, right? So one of the ways across the operations that needs to happen is sometimes you need to move quickly. And so what we've done is we've created a quick response team, which is our leaders within the technology and product marketing areas, and also our sales engineers, working with partners like Tangentia to actually deploy bots in days. So we've actually built bots that address current urgent needs associated with COVID, including things like employee tracking in China. Tracing and contact tracing and connecting with individuals is one of is another key area across industries that's being addressed. Like, for example, if you find that someone in your office has tested positive or become sick, who have they been around? Can you actually isolate those individuals, and how do you actually manage that situation? Well, one of the things people are looking for is being able to do contact tracing or be able to do health checks. So we have a workforce health status manager, which is a SMS messaging system, as well as a survey that enables you to connect with your workforce to find out how they're doing, and also to help manage like manufacturing staff or others in terms of who's going to be able to come in, but also keep track of actually how people are doing in working at home. So we also do clinical record forms. There's a lot of government forms that are PDFs or tick boxes, and we can read those and import them faster, so those clinical records can be processed much more quickly, or any of the other types of information, the new forms that people are having to complete, how do we actually enable them to be processed more quickly? In the U.S., we've done the PPP loan submissions to enable banks to be able to process them faster. Literally trying to deploy this in 24 hours, it was an immediate need by the banking industry on how do we actually do this and do it more efficiently to help people during these times. So things that you're looking for where suddenly the industry is completely different, how can you deploy bots very fast and be able to make those changes and solve that problem quickly? And I just want you to know, with partners like Tangentia and our quick response team, we work collaboratively together to assure that you get automation as fast as you can to solve these COVID issues. So if you've got something like this and you would like some help, please contact Tangentia and ourselves, and we will work together to assure you've got a rapid deployment for business continuity. So it's not only now that you're having to deal with, it's also over time. So we are partnering you through this journey. So for us, it's how can we immediately help you, but also how can we actually manage your true digital transformation to enable you to get the full benefits, to create greater capacity within your organization, as well as be able to have business continuity. So we're working with global experts in this area to bring that knowledge to you. We are working with the top life sciences, and across the industry, we're working with the top corporations worldwide, and we bring that knowledge to you. So we have 1,500 partners, 3,000 customers, almost 1.8 million digital workers have been deployed, and we're in 90 countries. So together with Tangentia, we provide you with the resources you need for business continuity to get through this. We are in this together. And as partners with you, it is our goal to assure your success is continued and that we're able to sustain economic vitality as well as human health. So please reach out to us. We're here for you. And literally, we're your partner to make this happen. You know, we're in this together. We've never been here before, but we've got so much tools, so many more capabilities than we had before. So let's let technology enable human capacity and create more digital workers and digital assistants to drive business forward. Thank you so much. I know that was a bit of a whirlwind. If you need more information, I'm available. It's Catherine Calarco at Automation Anywhere. And I will now turn it back to the amazing Vijay.
Hey, thank you, Catherine. Thank you very much. And you know, I know you've got to drop out. I mean, we're very lucky to have you here. And Catherine has to get to another call. You know, solving problems at another customer of hers. So you know, Catherine, really appreciate your time and thank you very much. And those of you on the call, you can still send in questions. We have Joe MD, who's the head of sales for East Coast. Is going to be on the call as well, so he will be able to take questions. So Joe, thank you very much for joining us as well. So thank you very much, Catherine. You can drop whenever you're okay to drop, and thanks again.
Yeah, thank you all. I appreciate the time, and Joe is amazing. We work together quite closely, so we welcome questions, inquiries, and we'd love to meet with you. So please do reach out. All right, thanks so much, everyone. Take care and be safe.
So you know, now taking over from Catherine, how does you know, who are using RPA today and the digital workforce? Now you might think this is, you know, there might be some of you that already are on point with this, are already using RPA. We've got some slides for you and how you can potentially you know, use this more, you know, amplify the message within the companies. But you know, if you're not using it, everybody is using it today. Contact centers, BPO, finance, accounting, financial service, healthcare, you know, human resources, insurance. You know, just about everybody is today looking at digital workers. So it is not a time of, you know, it's only a time of when. It's not who, but it's when are they going to do it. Now, if you are an early adopter, you're probably already doing it. Now, early adopters have some problems of their own. But you know, if you're approaching it right now, also learn from some of the early adopters and see what they have done and learn from their mistakes. So you know, in finance and accounting, right? If you look at different sectors within your company, different verticals within your company, in finance and accounting, it's a no-brainer. It's one of the low-hanging fruits. Any kind of manual touch points. In accounts payable, accounts receivable, these are definite areas where you know, RPA can help. We were at one of our customers earlier this week, and just on an AR process. It was a large chain at multiple locations across the nearly 250 locations. Every day, somebody spent between 3 to 4 hours doing account receivable and account payable work. And when we automated that across that chain, we were able to reduce almost 750 to 1,000 hours every day. It's huge, right? Now, post-COVID, as the business recovers, those hours could be put to, you know, business you know, growth, could be put to sales, could be put to marketing, customer success, could use these hours to, we're not saying that you need to take people out, but you can use these hours to better serve your customers. So these were 1,000 hours that were made available just by using RPA. So, okay, so HR, in HR, 24/7 digital workforce. We've had customers of ours that, with the present, situation with lockdown and people not being able to go to work, if they had not automated some of their processes, they would have to send people to the office to run payroll, to run some of the processes that did require them to go on site. And some of you in your companies that did not embrace automation or digital transformation in some of these processes had to send people to the office. Now you had to do it because that was no, otherwise people wouldn't get paid. Now with automation, what we were able to do in some of our customers was, even they were able to hire people, and some people even let go of people. All of this continued as business as usual because the bots could work and do things without really being with employees being physically present. So that is something that, from a business continuity standpoint, really helped out.
Hey, Vijay, this is Joe. If I could jump in on that.
Yes, please.
Just to underscore that, we're dealing with a customer now that has to deal with, they have about 13,000 employees. They're field employees. They generate invoices and work orders and whatnot. And those invoices and work orders are the lifeblood of the company from a revenue perspective. And now suddenly, with a large, workforce no longer coming in to process those and make sure all the, I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, they're in a situation where they realize that they have to accelerate the automation of this because they're losing money. And so we're working with them in both, sort of consultative approach as well as the product to make that happen. So that's definitely something that I think companies are looking at in the immediate. And then also, okay, when I come out of this, is there a phase 2 of COVID-19, or when's the next crisis like this going to hit? And they want to be prepared from a continuity standpoint. So actually seeing it in commercial activity right now.
Absolutely. So this is also whatever you do specifically for COVID-19, to Joe's point, it will not just come in handy to overcome the present surge in requests or present situation, but it will help with strengthening your company, build resilience, and help with business continuity in the future as well. So which brings us to the next thing, which is IT, right? And IT today.
Hey, Vijay, we have a question on the Q&A. Maybe we want to look at.
Sure.
I'll read it out. Maybe if you want to take a crack at it.
Sure.
It says, how can you apply an RPA or automation solution for an organization, property management and real estate software giant, having multiple in-house applications with 6,000 employees and presence in 40 different countries?
Mm-hmm. I think that's a fantastic question. Now, a property management real estate company with multiple in-house applications, 6,000 employees. So I will, there is with automation, there is multiple touch points, multiple use cases. Now, one thing that really comes to mind is if you have multiple in-house applications, you need to integrate these applications. Now, integration in the traditional sense of application integration used to be a huge project and costing a lot of time and money. So today with RPA, you're able to speak. You can get applications connected to each other within minutes. Through RPA, within a very agile framework, you're able to get application integration taken care of. Today, if you're looking at, there is purists out there that believe that the legacy applications or the building blocks have to be more tightly integrated. we kind of would like to disagree, respectfully disagree. I had a background in application integration, and we did those projects. But 15 years back, 20 years back, RPA did not exist. Today, RPA exists. We are able to, in a enterprise framework, able to integrate applications. So that can happen. 6,000 employees. I'm pretty sure there are tasks that the employees do on a mundane, repetitive manner. A lot of those tasks can be automated. Things like, if it's a real estate application, maybe you have to log into realtor.com, or in Canada, realtor.ca. You've got to, enter information in there, download information, contracts. A lot of these things can be automated. So, best would be to bring in, automation anywhere and Tangentia. We will come back. We have a couple of slides on that. How do you get started? Call us in. We can do what we call a discovery session. Look for opportunities where we get started, and we can do a one-day free POC, a proof of concept. Look at your business in particular, and look where the low-hanging fruit is. And once we've got that, we get started. So it is an RPA journey, and we have a slide for that as well. And once you get started, we will help you panel more opportunities, in the company, and then you start building, one on the other. But you get started somewhere. Our whole, advice to our customers is get started. I mean, you cannot learn swimming by watching PowerPoint slides or listening to somebody. You got to jump into the water. So our take on RPA and automation is to jump in, get started. As you get started, it will take a life of its own. Your company will be able to see opportunities, even sometimes even better than us as consultants or us as the experts. And you will be able to get this going, and it will have a life of its own. Joe, you want to add anything?
Ravi asked the question. I would say, in the situation that you're dealing with, you got 40 different countries, so you probably have undoubtedly multiple languages. And then all of those documents you're speaking about, they all come in different forms, in different formats. And ultimately, probably you want to pull the same sets of data off of those different documents for processing in one way or another, either through your in-house system, which we can link to a bespoke system, or we have readily available what we call metabots or small bots that can interface with standard systems of record such as SAP or Oracle. And we're developing, so with that technology, that's our cognitive learning / AI product called IQ bots. And IQ bots can do things like read documents that are in semi-structured or unstructured format, not the least of which might include a lease, where we can scan lease and look for keywords and key figures and other kinds of terms, and help to, again, boil that down into structured data that can then be uploaded. That works in, it can read 190 plus languages. So it's very applicable to be able to centrally process a multinational kind of set of data points. So I think that's something that definitely to look at is not just the RPA itself, but also the higher levels of machine learning, cognitive learning, AI.
Absolutely, yeah. So moving on, I think IT is pretty straightforward. Also, what we've seen, when a new employee joins in, provisioning, and this could be a case of Ravi's example as well. As you have a new employee joining in and you have multiple applications, in the old days, you had an IT person go in and create user IDs in all these applications for a certain person. And then as IT evolved, you had identity management solutions that did this. And again, identity management solutions, one thing they were quite expensive, and they had to be kept updated. So now there is an easier way out. You get a bot to do all of this. The bot goes in, logs into all the applications, does all the checks and balances, and makes sure that access is provided to the people. And then if anybody quits, you can take off the access. All of those things can be done very easily using RPA. So customer service, again, I think Catherine mentioned this as well. So how intelligent automation, you can have attended bots as well, where a bot is almost like a digital assistant, right? If somebody calls into a call center and says, I want some information, now the call center agent can log into his or her bot, ask the bot to go to the applications, bring the information, show it on screen, and then the call center agent can give that information across to the end customer that's calling. So this eliminates the need for call center agents to be trained on multiple applications, it allows you to bring in call center agents quickly to ramp up, ramp down, and to be able to get people to get up and started in days and not weeks and months that it took previously. Some of our success stories, I'll run through this very quickly. Please send us your slide, your questions again. Summit Wealth, one of our customers, they're right here in Toronto. We enabled their insurance claim reporting. Now they went into the COVID-19 situation, and thanks to Automation Anywhere and Tangentia going in and putting in an automated solution for claims reporting, they did not have to go to the office to do some of these reporting, which otherwise they would have to, and it would have been a problem. But business continuity prevailed. Everything worked as should have in the normal case, and they were able to do all of this thanks to the automation. CanProtex, another customer of ours in Saskatoon, CanProtex was able to process shipments, a lot of the AR AP reporting for their train shipments, for their planes, for their shipping, invoices, all of which was automated before the COVID-19 situation. And as COVID-19 hit, the trains and the ships were continuing to flow, and information continued without them actually having to go to the office, and the bots took care of it. So it helped with business continuity, and this is something where we definitely were able to show value, and the customer was able to have business as usual, at least in the areas where they had the automation implemented. This is another customer of ours. This is a customer in India. Indus Motors is India's largest car dealership, and they sell a car every 10 minutes, not in the present COVID situation, but pre-COVID. And looking at how car dealerships are doing in China, Wuhan, after COVID-19 reopened, I'm very confident they will go to their numbers again. So at this point, at Indus Motors, with Automation Anywhere, we were able to automate when a car is sold. There are around 14 tasks that needs to be done. You have to log into a portal and register the car with the government, the road transport office, fast tag, which is equivalent to an easy tag, the roadside assistance, warranty. There's 14 different things that need to be done, and every car sold, it takes between 3 to 4 hours of human work that was required. And now we were able to do all of that in less than 20 minutes using a bot. So there's huge time savings, huge saving in human effort that could be put to other places, to selling and to customer success, and making sure that customers were attended by a human, and that time was not available because humans were actually doing mundane repetitive tasks, and we were able to take that off. So RPA journey, as we talked about, this is how you get started. Start off with a proof of concept, fully functional pilots. This is a journey, and we end up at enterprise rollout, center of excellence. And this is the point where once you have a center of excellence,
Hey, Vijay, you're fading out again.
Okay, sorry. So when I said when you get to center of excellence, you can be doing this on your own. So we as a company get started from proof of concept, get you to a fully functional pilot, advanced enterprise pilot, and so how do you get started today? Today, Ashley, can we have next slide? Okay, let's start with the free POC. So 1 day of effort at your location remotely, Tangentia and Automation Anywhere will come in, work at your enterprise. So Ravi, with your real estate company as well, give us a shout and we will come in. So who do you contact? The next slide here. We have questions. Please let your questions come in. The next slide is we have Abhijit Chakravarti from Tangentia and Danish Jaffer, who is the salesperson for the Toronto area and most of Canada, will be available to take your calls or to take your questions. And at this point, we have a couple more questions, so we can look at these questions. But if you have any more, please let us in. We're almost at the top of the hour, but we'll take 1 or 2 questions. We will go a little over time. I think we will take these questions. So we have a question that came in. Joe, I will give this question over to you. So Joe, the question here is Automation Anywhere versus the other competitors. Right? How does Automation Anywhere? Why is Automation Anywhere better? Is it just the cloud, or is there anything else with Automation Anywhere that is different?
Yeah, so I mean, generally what I can do is I can speak to where Automation Anywhere is differentiating itself. From the ground up, Automation Anywhere is built for scale, and we have customers that do very well with our competitor products up to a certain level of scale, and then it breaks down. I shouldn't say it breaks down. It's just not as readily scalable. We use a sort of a microservices strategy approach and an architecture that allows you to start with our system, and you just want to deploy, say, 5 or 6 automated processes or bots, or you can deploy on that same set of what we call our control rooms, which are the core of the brains of the system. Up to we have Fortune 100 companies with several thousand bots deployed on the same architecture. So scale is a big part. We've always been sort of enterprise grade in terms of security. We've always been a leader in security, and we've moved to everything from proper alignment of banking level security for data and motion data at rest, as well as making sure that our open source audits we're the only ones at level 5 for a long time. So we continue to be a leader in those kinds of things. And now what we're seeing, particularly with COVID-19 and our leadership here is showing is the move to cloud. There's a need as we've talked about with business continuity. There's a need for now more than ever for elements of the workforce that companies didn't think they were necessarily going to have to deal with as remote, and now they're remote and very suddenly. And so even sometimes in the early stages of the crisis, we were reaching out to our customers and others that we had relationships with, not to sell them something right away, but to say, what can we do? We have some resources. We built some bots. We built some bots for various organizations. Without them, and it was, look, right now I'm just trying to get my VPNs up and I'm trying to get laptops for folks, right? So there's this immediate infrastructure issue that the cloud can assist. Obviously, the cloud can't help people have laptops, but in those processes, being able to run remotely be able to be ramped up. So if suddenly somebody needs to build a bot to address a particular process, which we've seen a lot in the crisis. We talked about the banking in the U.S., the PPP, something similar in Canada. So now a user can simply log on from any device, multiple OSs, and they can start to build that bot and even have it deployed for testing. So those are sort of the big things that we're seeing in terms of how we differentiate. And the last thing I would say is with that cloud, and really to tap into that comes ease of use. And so we've developed really a state-of-the-art modern user interface that can be utilized by business users, developers, and IT management personnel alike. And they can even be working side by side in two different UI types, e.g. a flow diagram and instruction set, as well as the ability to, say, import something like Python script right into the bot. So we're really addressing multiple levels of users in a increasingly challenging environment.
Mm-hmm. Hey, thanks, Joe. I hope that answers the question. Now we have one last question before we call it a day. The last question here is we are a small company, so does Automation Anywhere have a solution for us? Right? I mean, so Joe, do you want to take that? I mean, this is a small company. Maybe I would say, obviously, we do have a solution, but you want to go for that, Joe?
We do, and we service companies large and small. As you imagine, like most companies, we like to put the big logos up, but it is important for you to understand that we can service either provide a solution to small companies, and the cloud is a great example of that. Because sometimes smaller companies don't have the resources to deploy, a server or two for control and the bot runners, but they can utilize our cloud solution, our A2019 cloud solution, to easily obtain a license and get running very quickly to develop bots. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I think maybe some of you may have seen this if you've seen some of our webinars or heard this, but when we first announced the cloud, we were in New York City at the NASDAQ. It was A2019, and we had somebody log in and build a bot that sent out emails to everybody that was invited in the audience to say, welcome to the future, A2019. And we raced against having an Uber show up, having ordered an Uber and show up at the NASDAQ. And so the bot beat the Uber. So it's very easy and very economical at low barriers to entry using the cloud. But in addition, we have commercial offerings, and we work with partners like Tangentia who are able to service large companies as well as small companies. And we have services ourselves if need be to assist a small business in getting started. So it's very possible, and it exists across the spectrum of our customers today.
Thank you very much, Joe. Joe, yes, I was actually at the NASDAQ when that happened, and I saw that happen, and it was brilliant. It was somebody logged in, created a bot from start to finish in quicker than it took for an Uber to get there. So it is very easy, and those of you who are of a technical bent of mind, you can just go to automationanywhere.com. You can start off a free trial version, a community edition, version, which is free, entirely free. You can go get started, learn for yourself. A lot of learning available, automationanywhere.com as well. And whenever you're ready to start your journey, give us a call. Get in touch with Abhijit or Danish, and we're more than willing to jump in. And the time, I guess, is there is no better time than right now, because right now I think with some of the businesses, being a little slower than usual, I think there is time to spend on initiatives like this. So I would advise as many of you as possible to give digital transformation a thought. And those of you already on the journey, maybe time to accelerate the journey, see as much gains as you can get in this period, so that post-COVID you are stronger, and obviously you will be stronger if you have automation as compared to your competitors. So on that note, I'd like to thank all the panelists. Catherine's not here, but thanks to her, and thanks to you, Joe, for spending some time with us, and also all of you in the audience, for taking your time to be with us today and watch this space. We will have more webinars coming along, and we'd love to continue to chat and work with you all. So have a great day, everybody, and stay safe. Thank you.
Stay safe. Thank you.